All right, everybody, how's it going? Finally, I'm getting around to doing this. It's it's well past time for week 2 of the preseason picks to be done. So let's get the video out. Let's get it done. I've been kind of lazy on it. It's the preseason. During the regular season, these will always be up on a Tuesday. But whatever on this. There's only 1 week of the preseason left anyway, so that'll be out Tuesday. I'll try to get that out on time. So. Let's get right into it. It's week 2 of the NFL preseason. It's Friday right now, August 20th, 2021, and let's get into it. Thursday night, obviously, I had the Patriots winning 20. I had them winning before they won yesterday. I had them winning 24-17. Obviously, they won like 35-0. So that was a pretty easy one to take. All the lines on here are from FanDuel when I made this on Wednesday. So I don't know if the lines are still accurate. I didn't bother to go back and change them. So let's go to Friday night. It's 8 o'clock football. You've got the Cincinnati Bengals going to Washington and playing the football team. The Bengals are 1-0 and the football team is 0-1. Washington was favored by 5 with an over-under of 34. That was the line when I seen the on FanDuel a while ago. I don't know if it's been changed. I've got Washington winning. I know the Bengals looked all right in their opener. And Washington kind of didn't, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it depends on how long either like starters are going to play. I think if Washington plays their starters like the first half, I think their defense is going to dominate that Bengals offensive line, the Bengals offense, and the Washington just can kind of do what they usually do, just kind of check it down the field. Washington really kind of only struggled against the Patriots. I mean, like that was kind of like the difference. Like their starting offense had to play the Patriots defense. Now that's the Bengals defense, so that's probably a step way down. So I could see Washington being a little bit more competent on offense and on defense against the team like the Bengals. So I'm gonna go with Washington over Cincy, 16-13 or something like that. And then we have what I think is one of the better games of the weekend. I don't really know if the Mahomes and them are going to play any starters. I don't really think that matters too much. And then there's the Cardinals, who are probably going to play their starters for a little while. The Chiefs are 2.5 point favorites with an over-under of 41 at the time of that. Both teams won their preseason openers. I don't know. This feels like it could be a really cool game. I think Kansas City is a pretty well put together team in terms of like their backup offense is still probably just as good as most teams' starting offenses. I think you could put like a backup quarterback in for them and they could pretty much system run it and score a lot of points. Kansas City runs a good system and I like the way that they're coached. So that, that doesn't really matter to me that they're, this could be a second half game where the Chiefs come back into it. That's mainly what I was thinking also, was like I don't really know what the Cardinals' depth looks like, and we know that the Chiefs actually have some decent depth. They've been building up a team over the last few seasons, and that typically starts to result in like you having like good depth. Especially since you're drafting for like very specific needs later in the draft, and it winds up you getting some decent players who fall. So I don't know. I like Kansas City's depth. It was certainly on display in their first game. Arizona too, but I don't know. If the starters play for Kansas City, they should win this game kind of handily, but I don't really think they will due to Andy Reid kind of not playing starters. So I don't know. This could be a good game. I just got the Chiefs because I think they're a little bit better of a team than the Cardinals, I guess. All right, that's it for Friday. So that's today. You can watch either one of these games. I mean, this game would be a lot more exciting, the Chiefs and the Cardinals, if I knew Mahomes was playing. You know what I mean? So let's go to Saturday football. We have the 1 o'clock Saturday football. It would be the Buffalo Bills heading to Chicago to play the Bears. The Bears are 4-point favorites with an over-under of 38. 1-0 for both teams. I've got the Bears winning because they're going to play like their actual team for some of this game, whereas Buffalo, I believe, is still going to be resting the majority of their starters. I don't think Allen's going to play. I'm not sure if Diggs is playing. I don't know if some of their defensive stars are playing. The Bills are playing the preseason with a very safe mentality. Yeah, they won their first game, but it was against the Detroit Lions. We know the Lions are who they are, and then they came back really weird late, and that was a weird game. I think the Bears have a little bit more competent of a defense than Detroit does, so they'll probably be giving Mitchell Trubisky, who's going to start the game for the Bills, a lot of problems early on in this game. The Bears are probably going to try to really go after this dude, and they know everything about Mitch, so there's nothing Mitch can really do to surprise the Bears unless he's changed something dramatically. So they probably can get out to an early lead and just kind of hold it for the rest of the game with their defense, which is, really good. Chicago's really good on defense. It's just their offense is kind of whatever. We don't know what that's going to look like. So give me the Bears in this one, just because the Bills really aren't really going to be playing anybody. 4:25 game. We've got the Jets and the Packers. The Jets will go to Green Bay and play the Packers. I don't know who Green Bay is playing. The Jets were favored in this game when it opened at 2.5 with an over/under 34. I've got the Jets winning too. I don't really see the Packers trying. I think they lost to the Bengals in week 1. They're not really doing much. I don't remember who they lost to, but like Green Bay lost, and it was just like, oh, they're not really trying. You're probably not going to see much out of Green Bay in terms of the starters. Whereas with the Jets, like, you have a lot of guys trying to make the team, trying to be super competitive. A lot of young players that can make the team over like other young players. Like a lot of open roster spots for guys probably trying to make this team. So you're going to see a lot of very competitive play from the Jets from start to finish. Whereas the Packers probably just mail this in because it's just the second preseason game. Maybe get some timing in. The third one's the one that matters usually. So we'll probably not see much in this one. That's why I have the Jets winning. It's just the Jets are going to try very hard to win this game and do very well, whereas the Packers are going to mail it in after like the first quarter. And I think the Jets barely win. Then at 7 o'clock, we've got the Baltimore Ravens going down to Carolina to play the Panthers. The Ravens won their first game. Panthers did not, and they didn't. I don't think they looked very good either. I don't remember who they played, but the Colts. Yeah, that's who it was. They weren't able to beat them. Ravens are favored by 3, over under 35.5. Again, these are just lines that I got from FanDuel that I don't know if they're the same. This game, I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say about it. It's kind of a B- matchup between the Ravens and the Panthers. The Panthers didn't really look that great in the first game. Ravens looked pretty decent. I think the Ravens have just a better team than the Panthers do. They're better coached. That seems like it's enough. I don't know. Ravens backups are actually pretty good. Trace McSorley, I take him over any of the Carolina Panther quarterbacks probably. No, Darnold's all right. I don't know. I just don't really have a lot to say about this game. I didn't really look into it. I'm just like, I don't know. I think the Ravens will win. Panthers don't seem like they're a great team right now. So I'll take the Ravens. I don't know. This one was even harder. I really didn't care about this game. It's the Atlanta Falcons playing the Miami Dolphins. It's in Miami. Both teams are 0-1. Dolphins are favored by 4.5 with an over-under 37.5. I just went with Miami because I have a general rule of I don't really like to pick the Falcons because you always get burned if you pick Atlanta. It's a very risky proposition to pick the Falcons. So I try to avoid it at all costs. I don't know. Miami's better coached. And Atlanta doesn't have a defense, and they definitely don't have a backup defense. So I think Miami could put some points up on them and like hold them back. Because after Matt Ryan and them leave the game, if they play in it, I really don't know what Atlanta's offense looks like. So I like Miami in this one. They just seem like a more competent, like depth-wise team and better coached. More Saturday Night Football. 7:30 p.m. We've got what could be the game of the week, depending on who plays and how long. I know Tom's gonna try to probably play for a little while, so we'll see. I don't know though. We'll see. I'm anticipating that they don't really play the starters too long for Tampa, whereas Tennessee might, just because you kind of get that mentality from Mike Vrabel and them. That they take every game pretty seriously, regardless of whether or not it's a preseason or not. Whereas like other teams don't really give a shit about the preseason. The line is the Bucs are favored by 1 with an over/under of 35.5. I like the Titans to win this game because I think the Titans have very good depth, just like the Bucs do. But I see the Titans trying a little harder because, again, I think certain teams take the preseason a little bit more seriously. And I think the Titans are one of those teams. I don't really see Tampa Bay and Bruce Arians being like super hard about the preseason. It's whatever, it's just mainly getting timing down. And that's mainly what I think the difference is. The Titans are going to try to win this, whereas Tampa is just going to try to avoid getting anyone really hurt and just get through it and get the timing down. And, I would be surprised if the starters play more than a quarter for Tampa in this game. So. Whereas I could see Tennessee trying to play them for like the first half, and then they play their good backups the rest of the game. Like that's kind of how Vrabel and them seem to roll over there. What do we got? we got the Detroit Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are 5.5-point favorites with an over-under of 37.5. Steelers are 2-0, looking pretty good with the depth. Good backup quarterback situation for them, because it seems like it's working. Mason Rudolph and Haskins. I mean, they've won both their games. Whereas the Lions lost a close one last week in a pretty weird fashion. They took a late lead and they literally gave it right back, and that was the game. Tough loss for the Lions last week. Whereas the Steelers, I don't know, they're 2-0. They have good depth. They're well coached. They look like a pretty well-oiled machine. I don't really see them going down because it seems like they have like starting level quarterbacks for all three of their depth spots, like where it's like the starters, the backups. Like all three of those guys could be starting quarterbacks in the league somewhere. So like maybe Haskins and Rudolph. Rudolph not so much. Haskins I do think is still a starter and could be fixed, and like brought back up and everything. So I don't know much about Mason. He's probably back up, but either way, they have very good depth in Pittsburgh, and the Lions secondary. Like the Lions defense played a lot better in the first preseason game against the Bills than I thought they were going to be able to. But I do think the Steelers like secondary offense is a lot more competent than what the Bills could put out for a second team offense. So that's kind of what the difference is here is going to be. Plus the Steelers look very well oiled right now, so I got the Steelers winning that one, and what should be a pretty fun game. I think Detroit keeps it really close, especially with what I've seen, because like they seemed a lot better on defense than what they should have. The Lions did. They did very good on defense, so like I expect them to be sneaky good on that department, especially with the head coach mentality. They're going to be a tough team. This could be a decent game. I mean, the Vikings got kind of beat up on because I don't think they really take the preseason too seriously. I don't think they're really playing anybody, or they plan on playing anybody. I don't think they want to risk the injuries and all that, so that's a big thing. The Vikings are 2.5-point favorites, though, regardless. Over under a 38.5. I've got the Colts winning this game. Again, coaching I find pretty even. I find their starters to be on a comparable level. Whereas I find the Colts defense to be way better than the Vikings. So that's a major plus for the Colts. I think depth-wise, up and down, the defense of the defensive depth for the Colts is far superior to most teams in the NFL. Who I think the Colts have like a low-key like top 5 defense, maybe top 3, depending on how good Darius Leonard could be this year. Because I think he's only going to get better and better and better. So, but like their just depth is just crazy from start to bottom. Whereas the Vikings, they have a good starting unit, but after that, it kind of can get ugly. And when you have a bunch of guys on the Colts team right now at the quarterback position who are trying to like earn the like starting job, or like Carson isn't able to come back, or earn the backup job, like you have Eason, you have you've got Sam Ellinger. Like those guys are playing pretty good ball, and they're gonna play very hard in this game. They're gonna be very well coached by Frank Reich. And because like they're trying to earn the backup job to Carson, which knowing Carson's injury history, that becomes a starting job very quickly. So right now you have two guys kind of like fighting for a starting job, basically a potential starting job. You know what I mean? So in the two backup quarterbacks, so like you're gonna see a really hard effort out of the Colts, whereas the Vikings, much like some of these other teams, I think they don't care too much for the preseason. I don't know. Dallas does not have good backups at the quarterback on like offense or defense. And the Texans, I don't know, they didn't look so bad in their first preseason game. I'm going to go with the Texans. Only because the Cowboys, again, I don't think the Cowboys give one flying shit about the preseason. They're not really playing starters. Even if they play the starters, they're not going to last long. And then Dallas just falls apart after that. Dallas hasn't looked good in one game. Like they just kind of looked shitty. I don't think they care. Like and if they don't care, man, they look bad when they don't care. So, whereas Houston, I don't know. They got a bunch of guys trying to make the team, trying to earn starting jobs. It's going to be super competitive from them. Because, again, their team is rebuilding. It's a new team. Deshaun's probably not even going to be their quarterback. So, like, they have a lot going on. So, they're going to try very hard, look a little bit, more explosive than the Dallas Cowboys, whose starters are all confirmed. They just got to not get hurt. So, that's my prediction. I'll take the Texans. More Saturday night 10 o'clock game. We got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Raiders are 6.5-point favorites with an over-under of 35. That's because the Rams, like I know I've been saying this a lot, but the Rams don't care. Like they're not gonna play starters, and if they do, they play a little bit. Like it's just they don't want anyone to get hurt, dude. They have such an expensive veteran-laden team. They're like, listen, we know we can play football here, everybody. So let's just get through this preseason. Nobody get hurt. Good to go. Whereas the Raiders, man, it's John Gruden. He's a crazy bastard. They're trying to win games and shit. They're in mid-season form already. The Raiders. They're like, we gotta win. I wouldn't even be surprised if they played their starters the whole game, just because it's John Gruden. And the Rams didn't even look like they wanted to be there for the preseason. They're like, this is so stupid. Why are we here? And then we've got the Denver Broncos, who looked a lot better than I thought they were going to. And then the Seattle Seahawks, who are 0-1 again. Their depth is bad. Like, their starting core is pretty thin. So like when the Seattle Seahawks starters leave, the backups come in, and that's a bad set of players. And that's why I have the Broncos winning, because I think the Broncos are a pretty solid depth team. I think their backups are pretty good, especially on defense. I think their defense is very, very good. I've always said that about the Broncos. A very, very competent defense that plays as good as they're like the Bears, sort of. If the offense starts slacking off and not carrying its weight, you'll see teams like the Broncos and the Bears defenses completely just give up on the season. So it's very odd. But if their offense is trying and doing very well, suddenly these defenses turn it back into the top two defenses in football. The Broncos or the Bears. They're very offensive dependent defenses. It's very odd. It's a very odd connection that happens with some of these teams, and the Broncos are one of them teams. I know that was irrelevant to talk about. I'm just saying the Broncos have very good defense, and I think that's top to bottom, and I think that's part of the reason they'll win this. Is just I think the Broncos backups are better than the Seahawks backups. So that's mainly the preseason, is who has better backups. Sunday football, 1 o'clock. We've got the Giants taking on the Browns. The Giants are 0-1. The Browns are 1-0. I don't think the Giants are playing their starters again for whatever reason. I don't think they're playing Daniel Jones. And if that's the case, I've got the Browns winning quite handily. I don't really think the Giants backups can compete with the Browns backups, who are pretty much a starting unit for most teams. If it wasn't the Browns, the Browns are very, very depth heavy. So I'll take the Browns in this one, especially since the Giants don't seem to be wanting to play starters. 7 o'clock. We've got the Chargers and the 49ers. Chargers are hosting the 49ers. 49ers 0-1. Again, another team that kind of, whatever about the preseason starters or whatever. It's mainly about timing, getting things down, avoiding injury, because the 49ers also have been cursed. So have the Chargers. So basically, this is a battle of backups. I don't think either team is sending starters out there. Both teams have been cursed by injuries. So I don't know. I think the Chargers have a better rookie backup situation than the 49ers, who are going to play nobody. I don't know. This game is hard to predict, because it's literally, I don't think either team wants to play anybody worth note. The Chargers have pretty much said they're not playing any starters the whole preseason, because they're trying to avoid what happens to them every fucking year. Derwin James, Bosa, Allen. They really don't want to see Herbert get hurt in the preseason. So I'm still going to go with the Chargers, because I just, better backups. Is that it? Nope. What the hell's going on? Monday Night Football. There we go. That was weird. We got Monday Night Football. But yeah, so I took the Chargers in that one, just so we're aware. Okay, and then we've got Monday Night Football, kind of a snooze fest. Both teams 0-1. It's the Jaguars and the Saints. Saints are 4.5-point favorites with an over-under 38. I took the Saints mainly because they're home. But I think this is an equal game. I don't know how good the Saints backups are. I don't know who the Saints starters are. They didn't look so good in week 1. Jaguars, they looked a lot better than what they could have looked. I don't know. I think they'll look all right. If this game was in Jacksonville, I might pick the Jaguars to win this game. That's mainly the difference here, I feel like. I didn't see much from the Saints that really blew my mind. Same with the Jaguars. I was like, this is, whatever. This is a whatever game. But hey, Monday Night Football, right? I went 9-7 week 1. So, all right, that's not so bad. I know I kind of flew through those, but it's fine. It's pretty much what we do. But yeah, that's pretty much week 2 picks for you. I went 9-7 in week 1. Hopefully in week 2 I do a lot better. I'm already 1-0. So that's a good start. Leave your thoughts down below. Leave your picks down below. I'll be sure to get back to them as soon as I can. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, all that stupid YouTube stuff that people have to say. But yeah, that's pretty much it for week 2. Again, sorry about the video being super late. Hopefully it's not too late. But yeah, next week I'll have the video up on Tuesday for week 3 of the preseason, the final week of the preseason. Then we'll be in the regular season games. Very, very good. I can't wait. So, all right, thank you guys for listening. If you made it all the way through, thank you again. Have a good rest of your day. Go Patriots, go Lions, and of course, only a couple weeks away. Can't wait for week 1, the actual week 1, because that's. All right, see you later. Thanks for listening.